Hello. I spent Christmas at home in Iludo in Kwara State, and I just instantly had the urge to do this 10 minutes clip recording of my ancestral background, because it's a place I love and lots of historical memories, nostalgic feeling. You see, I'm from Igbomino tribe, which is a tribe of Yoruba land that spreads through Kwara and Ekiti state. Specifically, I'm from Iludo, Oro, and that's where my nickname Olusoji Iludo comes from in the first place. It's a lovely place, and I just have lots of memories from it. I'm actually a prince from the Olufayo ruling house, Láàfin Oro, in Iludo. And here in the background is where I spent every Christmas from 1968, about 4 years from when I was born. This house is my extended family house. Actually belonged to my great-great-grandfather. It was a mud house in the first instance, but my father built the concrete part of it in the front. I'm told in 1970 or thereabout. See, all of this back was all mud also. We're currently trying to restore it back, again using concrete, as you'll see. This is Ile Olufayo. It used to be called Ile Ekpetu, but now it's Ile Olufayo, Láàfin Oro in Iludo. This is my ancestral home, my heritage, really. So just follow me as I take you through. Lots of memories playing in this front yards in the early 70s with my brothers and my cousins. What we're trying to do is to restore this building while maintaining the architectural part of it. The windows are being restored back to what it looked like in the early 70s and leaving all the design as it is. Follow me as I take you into the building. Now, it consists of this front that was brought up again and renovated by my father consists of two wings. This wing and the picture there is that of my father's father, right? And he occupied this wing with 2 rooms in it. And my father also used to live with him in this part. But by the time my father got married, my father then got married into this right wing of the apartment. Yes, that's my father, late now also. And I remember many Christmas here from 1970. We stayed here for every Christmas for about 4 years. You can imagine my mother, my father, my 4 brothers and some cousins all cramped up. But it was such a lovely experience. We never felt any congestion in those days. This door leads you to the backyard. Right, had a compound, all mud, and you had on both sides actually mud rooms for several extended family members. All of that had since gone. We're again trying to restore the back. We've just done the fencing, and there you see the concrete walls coming up to have modern kitchen, toilet and shower. Trying to put 2 of those for the two-bedroom wing apartments, so that our extended family members who are still back home or come home repeatedly would have somewhere to stay. Part of what I remember and still love about the structure is you can see the drainage. This is a structure that was constructed in the late 60s or mid 60s. You can see the drainage still intact. And I just love the architectural feel. That's my family, my brothers and I. Yeah, all boys, 5 boys. And that is me there, 4th in line. 3 senior brothers and a younger brother. Yes, 4th in line. You can see the architectural design, the windows. Like I said, we opted to just retain the design. And these are fresh wood. We got some good local carpenters to put it up as we work on the restoration of the building. Now, let me take you through the ancestral tree of my family, the Oyawoye family. My father, late now, John Olayinka Olumuyi Oyawoye, Prince John Olayinka Olumuyi Oyawoye. His father on the paternal side was my great paternal grandfather, Pabola Dale Oyawoye of Iludun, and my great paternal grandmother, Mama Oya Nihu, a lovely woman. There she is with my brothers. I wasn't born at this time, as it is. And on my paternal side, you have my mother, also late now, Rachel Folake Oyawoye. And her father, my great paternal grandfather, Pamatu Giwa Toye. He was a Babaijo of St. James's Anglican Church. And my great paternal grandmother, Madam Ogumuyu Toye of Iludun. This is my mother's family house, also in Iludun. Yes, my parents both are from Iludun. They met each other there and got married, actually, in a church not too far from my maternal family house. This is Ile Olomo in Iludun, where my mother also grew up in. She wasn't born here because there's actually an Ile Olomo which precedes this structure here, but the structure I grew up to meet. And I'll take you through to see where my mother's room was before she married my father and left this abode, and actually retained this room up until the mid-70s when we moved into another part of Iludun to the family house. Yes, there is what used to be my mother's room. I'm talking of the 60s, late 60s. Those were my parents and the ancestral background on mine. My great paternal grandfather, Pamatu Giwatoe, Babaijo of St. James's Anglican Church in Iludun, beautiful church, actually also restored recently and retained again the architectural design. My parents actually got married on the steps of this church years ago. And back to my father's house, Olusoji. This place brings a lot of memories from my childhood days in Iludun at Christmas, and I just love it. We stayed in this house for every Christmas up until about 1970. So up until I was about 6 years old before we moved to another house that I'll show you in a little while. So just sitting down here, reflecting, lots of memories. And we still kept coming here, of course, to see my grandfather and my grandmother before they passed on also years back. But just sitting down here, really, I don't know about you, but this is me, right? Moments like these are just great for introspection, just getting me back to appreciate where I come from. And in 1974, we moved to another part of Iludun where we called Okeosin. Osin is a river, right? And this is the house, family house in Iludun, where we have stayed now since 1974. As it is, more modern taste as it is, all rooms en suite. And 2 years after, in 1976 actually, my late parents put up this other apartment at the back, which got disused after some time and was restored recently by my brothers and I about 10 years ago. This is where I come from. This is my Iludun. In those few minutes, I've taken you on a journey through my Iludun, where I come from. Yes, SOJ Iludun. I've taken you right through where not so much where I grew up, but every Christmas from 1968, that's about 4 years after I was born, every year my family brought us back home. First was a mud house before the brick house in my extended family compound before we moved into this place in 1974, and then actually the building behind me was built in 1976, about 2 years after. Right. So the SOJ Ilu you see out there, I'm not a Lagos boy. I'm a village boy. I'm proudly so. And I enjoin you, really, trace your ancestry. We all come from somewhere. Good, bad, ugly, whatever it is. Just celebrate that history. I love my ancestral background, Iludun, as it is. And why not? Just share a bit of it with you, as it is. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. as much as I've enjoyed putting it together as it is. It's taken almost 2-3 days of clips here and there. But then I just felt, just as most things that happen around me, pretty spontaneous. The idea just came, why don't I try and record this? For family first, and then for posterity. And who knows, it may just inspire someone listening or watching out there to also trace the ancestral background. It's not just Americans and British and people in the diaspora that like to know where they come from. I know where I come from and I cherish it. You should go find out where you come from as well. And by the way, if you don't know where you come from, you don't have an ancestral home for whatever reason, don't worry, just talk to me. I could actually make arrangements for you to spend a weekend at your cost, though, in my own country home in Iludu. Everything you need is actually within reach. And trust me, you'll enjoy it. This is my Iludu.